think a lot of people owe Kyrie an apology.
Think so?
Like,
There's a couple. There's a couple.
You know, for doubting.
There's a couple.
Before we start pulling and applauding for Kyrie Irving, we need to start getting these apologies out there, okay? They need to be as loud as everybody were when they were criticizing Kyrie.
I'm going to start with Kyrie Irving. I need to apologize to Kyrie Irving. All signs indicate he's all grown up.
RedNationBlogga, back with another video. This one is a little bit different. There's a lot of conversation going on around Kyrie Irving. There's a lot of conversation that's being had currently in the media. And that's one thing that I've been wanting to address. I see topics and I'll come on here and I want to discuss them because I think it's important. I think that it's good to have another perspective. And that's always something that I wanted to do. This one is a little bit different because the conversation around Kyrie Irving has been very, very weird. A lot of people feel like they owe him an apology because he's playing good basketball right now. Like, I don't understand how the two correlate. I don't understand how Kyrie Irving playing phenomenal basketball right now, and he is playing phenomenal basketball. And if they win a championship, that somehow equals that Kyrie Irving is owed an apology. So if Kyrie Irving doesn't win a championship, if the Dallas Mavericks lost in the first round or the second round, or they lose in the conference finals, then that means that he does not deserve an apology. There's so many things that I'm conflicted with and I'm confused with about that whole conversation about owing him an apology, because what has he done in 2024 that has absolved anything that anybody has said about him in 2021 or 2020 or 2022 or whenever? So the first thing that I want to address is anybody that's in media that said anything about Kyrie Irving, the basketball player and the basketball talent, should not be taken seriously. Anybody that questioned that the Mavericks gave up too much for Kyrie Irving, anybody that questioned how much Kyrie Irving loved the game of basketball, anybody that said that he should retire, that was ridiculous. All of those things were just ridiculous things that, frankly, should have never been said. But what I'm trying to understand is, what about what he's doing now absolves what happened in 2021 or, like I said, any other year in the past? So if you look at the timeline of Kyrie Irving, I'm only going to start past the Celtics, so post Boston. He played for the Brooklyn Nets in 2019. He had a shoulder injury. He had missed some time with the shoulder injury, and he was healthy enough to come back before the season even shut down and opted not to. And the optics of that was, well, Kevin Durant isn't playing, so I don't want to play. Now, mind you, this is before the shutdown. The shutdown happens. The NBA players get together and decide to continue the season, and Kyrie Irving doesn't want to play in the bubble. Fine, that's his right. He isn't the only player that opted out. That's cool. 2021 happens, and inexplicably, Kyrie Irving disappears from the team. It was reported that the team didn't know where he was. He didn't get an excused absence, is what they said. Only to be found on Instagram in the middle of a quote-unquote pandemic or whatever was going on in the world at that time, in a state that was very strict about their pandemic laws, on Instagram at his sister's birthday party, dancing. And prior to that video or after that video, I don't really remember, the Nets had no indication of where he was or how long he had been gone or he would have been gone. So for him to pop up on Instagram dancing, it definitely was a shock. But again, he was able to come back to the team. Everything was cool. We all know how that season ended. Kyrie got hurt. James Harden got hurt. Kevin Durant's foot is on the line. Cool. The very next season, that's the vaccination period. That's when players were to be vaxxed, and a lot of players got vaxxed. Some opted not to. The only thing, and it wasn't just Kyrie Irving, Andrew Wiggins ended up taking the vaccination, but he didn't want to get vaccinated. But he played in a state where he would not have been able to play in home games, but would have been able to play on the road games. He opted to end up getting the vaccination. The rest is history. Bradley Beal in Washington, D.C., he didn't play in a state where they mandated it like that, where he couldn't play in his own home city had he not got vaccinated. So that was a non-story. Kyrie Irving played in a state where they were not letting anybody that worked in the state of New York go to work without the vaccination, and Kyrie Irving didn't want to get the vaccination. That's his right. Anybody that clowned him for that is a clown. There are some that said, hey, you know what? Kyrie should be a team player. Everybody else in your team is getting the vaccination. The goal is to win a championship, do what needs to be done. But at the end of the day, a championship in the grand scheme of things is not as important as not wanting to put a substance that you don't really know about into your body. So again, Kyrie Irving deserves grace for that. He should not be pressured by anybody or any entity to not want to get the vaccination. That is his choice as a human being. And I'm cool with that. Then you have 2023 with the whole link stuff. I don't really know. I think it was really silly, and I think it was blown out of proportion to try to paint him as some anti-Semitic guy. I don't think that. But what he shared was apparently anti-Semitic, and that's what they were pushing on him. And he had to ultimately come out and apologize. He got suspended by the team. He lost his Nike deal. They didn't renew his contract. And that was that issue. So that year, he ended up coming back. The Nets actually were playing really good basketball with Kyrie, with Kevin Durant. And then Kyrie, once he didn't get an extension, demanded a trade, ended up going to Dallas. And we are where we are right now. But I say all that to say, why does he need an apology? If you are a bank robber 3 years ago, and then all of a sudden you turn your life around, do I have to apologize for calling you a bank robber when you were robbing banks? I don't understand this notion that he deserves or is owed some sort of apology. For what? We all knew he could play basketball, as I said earlier in the video. Anybody that questioned his love for the game, his passion for the game, his work ethic, or if he actually wanted to play the game is idiotic and should not have been listened to. So this notion that, well, because the Mavericks are winning, that Kyrie Irving is owed an apology, I just don't like it. I don't like it because it makes it seem like he was getting unjust and unfair criticism those years prior. And I also don't like it because it's like you're saying, well, because the Mavericks are winning, now we can see him as a human being and give him an apology. Did you mean your criticism when you were criticizing him back then, or did you not mean it? Because a lot of people are doing this and a lot of people are saying things for headlines and for stories. Everybody's trying to build up their own profile and their own brand. So are you getting on these networks to a national audience and just spewing nonsense that you don't mean? So did you think that Kyrie Irving was right all along, or not right or not wrong, and you just wanted to put your voice and put your opinion out there? Because that's wrong too, and that should not have been done. So this notion that he deserves some type of apology, I just don't understand it. I really don't. And again, I want to say this, and I know that this will be ignored because of the middle part of what I said. Kyrie Irving is a phenomenal basketball player. He had every right not to get the vaccine. He had every right, but there are rules and regulations. If you're not going to get the vaccine, then if your team says you cannot play at home or the road, then so be it. And if your team changes their mind and say now you can play on the at home or on the road, then so be it. You have to live within the confines of the policy of which you work or of which you live. You cannot pick and choose. Nobody else gets to do that. What makes you different? I say all that to say the apologies don't need to be had. Let's just celebrate what he's doing right now. Let's just celebrate that the Mavericks are 1 win away from a championship and Kyrie Irving is now 5 wins away from his second championship ring. Let's celebrate that instead of looking back in the past and trying to absolve fair criticism that he got. Now, I will say some of it was unfair, but a lot of it was fair. And this is my thing, and I'm going to exit on it. Anybody that gives anyone unfair criticism should be ignored. They should be ignored. Don't bring their names to the debate table when we are discussing sports. It's that simple. As always, thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe, comment. Let me know if you agree, if you disagree in the comment section below. Red Nation Blogga, I'm out, man.